Greetings and welcome to another episode of Veterans of the Cedar Valley. My name is Tom Haggerty and I'll be your host for this show. In previous shows we've interviewed veterans from World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Iraq and Afghanistan, and also we've had veterans who have been here to explain what they did in the service, and that information was valuable to a lot of people. Today in the studio, I'd like to welcome back Yolanda Lovelace, who is our Blackhawk County Veterans Affairs Director, and Yolanda's brought along a new member of his staff, Mary Corwin. Welcome to the show, both of you.
Thank you for having us.
And we're going to just pick on Mary to start out with, but Mary, what is your title working on Yolanda's staff?
I am the office specialist and VSO in training.
Okay, now in watching the Veterans Board meeting the other day, they mentioned that you were going to go for training for VSO. Say what that stands for again? Veterans?
Service officer.
Okay, and what does the training involve that you're going to have to go to?
Well, it'll involve about a week's worth of orientation to the paperwork, and everything that goes with veterans benefits.
Okay, and you'll come back and you'll be able to, if I say it wrong, do intake for veterans needs?
I'll do intake and work with claims.
Okay.
And but like we were discussing earlier today, it's a lot of what we do is on the job.
Yolanda, just a little quick question about staff at the Veterans Office. How many staff people work inside the Veterans Office?
So we currently have 4 staff members, that including myself. So you have a director, you have 2 veteran service officers, Michelle and Stacy, and then you have an office specialist / we're bringing on, I want to add and include another veteran service officer, and we were blessed with Mary taking over as the office specialist, but it gives her a unique way of now addressing phone calls, being able to answer people that come to, our veterans that come to the office, and now help in that workload that we're going to take on.
Well, I want to go back and pick on Mary again.
Sure.
In the background you can see her uniform hanging there, and I told her I was extremely jealous about how many stripes she had, but of course she was in the service a little longer than I was. And Mary, please tell us what the rank is. I had 3 stripes and I was called a sergeant.
Okay.
What is your rank on the uniforms?
Senior Master Sergeant, and that is an E8.
Okay. So I was an E4. Yeah, that's an extremely lot better. But anyway, also, how long were you in the Air Force?
For nearly 26 years.
Okay. And you went to basic training, I believe, at San Antonio, Texas?
Yes, sir.
We all do.
Yep.
We all did. But from there, you got out of there and went to a tech school, I'll call it.
Yes, it
where
was tech school. That was at Goodfellow. It's in San Angelo, Texas.
You didn't leave Texas any faster
No,
than I did.
no.
I went from San Antonio up to Wichita Falls, to
Okay.
become a medic. But what was the specialty that you were going to be assigned to?
It's intelligence analyst. They called it a communications analyst at the time, but it was intel.
So you had to be smart.
I don't think so. I think you had to be able to do the job.
That's why they made me a medic. Yeah, but when I was in Texas, the intelligence school was in San Antonio, Texas, but of course that's 50 years ago. So,
Yeah.
So how long was the training or tech school for your specialty?
It was 4 months.
Still in Texas.
Yes.
And then where'd you go to your assignment, or did a further training?
Nope. I took about 3 weeks, went home, and then I went overseas to Augsburg, Germany. 69 13th ESS, Electronic Security Squadron.
Wow. And then when you started in your assignment, what were you assigned to do?
I monitored computers for enemy
Information.
activity.
Okay.
Yes, I'm trying to
I know
choose
that,
my words.
Mary kind of cautioned me about what she could answer and what she couldn't answer, and I'm just going to see how far I can push that. So, in that job, you did that in Germany first?
Yes.
You went from Texas over to Germany in your specialty, and then from there, did you stay in Germany for a long time?
I did. I was there for 2.5 years until our unit shut down, and that was due to the Berlin Wall coming down.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So it wasn't needed anymore?
It wasn't needed.
Wow.
No, the Russians were leaving Germany, and that was our mission at the time.
Okay. So then, after that, where did you go?
Fort Meade, Maryland, which is home of the National Security Agency.
Okay. And was that your last assignment or a continuation of assignments? Because for 26 years you were in
Yep,
it? Yeah.
26. So I left active duty after 4 years at the fort and went right into the reserves, and then did a lot of active duty after that because I was mobilized several times.
And Mary, I was a medic, but I was promised I could be a pilot, you know, in the Air Force. Unfortunately, you can't wear glasses and pilot a plane. Did you get to fly a plane?
No,
Okay.
no, they wouldn't let me do that.
I want to kick back to your family just a little bit.
Okay.
Where were you from originally, and where, you know, born and raised, and what schooling did you go to?
I was born at the place I work at right now, at St. Francis, but
St. Francis.
yeah. But I lived in Dyke and raised in Dyke until I went to the Air Force.
Okay. And how many brothers and sisters did you have?
I have 7 brothers and sisters.
Okay. And they, if I say, oh, they're on the screen right now. Are all of them, were they in the military, or just you were a military family?
My dad was a Korean War veteran. He was in the Navy, and I hate to say that because of Yolando. However, my 4 of my brothers, my 4 brothers were all in the Army and National Guard, and my 3 sisters, all of their husbands were in the military as well.
Well, I want to ask you, and I want you to brag about him. You have one of your siblings or your brothers that was a major general. Where?
Yes. So Patrick, his last assignment was in New York. He was the adjutant general, and he spent 41 years in the military.
41?
41.
Active duty or?
Yeah, well,
guard?
mostly he was a guardsman that went on active duty, so he spent many years on active duty.
And can you say what his specialty was? Other than being in the...
Yeah, he wasn't intel, so
Yeah.
I think his was pointing fingers and telling people what to do.
Good reply. And Yolando, now, not to pick on your rank, but what was your rank in the Navy before you got out?
So I retired as a Chief Warrant Officer 4. So as a Chief Warrant Officer 4 is a warrant officer in the Army or in the Marine Corps. Unfortunately, the Air Force, and I'm just bagging on you guys. You guys don't utilize our specialty in that standpoint. But I was also in communications.
Good. And back to Mary. After the Air Force, you came back here to this area to live?
Yes, sir.
And tell me a little bit about your education, what you achieved.
Well, because of the post 9/11 GI Bill, I was able to go to UNI and receive 2 bachelor's degrees, and then I went on obtained my master's in social work.
You got 2 BAs.
Yes.
One wasn't enough?
One wasn't enough.
Okay, then from there, and congratulations on 2 BAs. From
Thank you.
there, what did you do?
I spent a short time in the as the Grundy County Veterans Service Officer. And I also worked for 5 years at the Waterloo VA Clinic as a clerk. I interned with both Blackhawk and Bremer counties during obtaining my bachelor's.
Okay, then you did get a master's degree, if I remember reading your bio,
Yes, sir.
and that was from where?
That was from UNI as well.
Good. A loyal Panther.
That's right.
So, and what was your master's degree in?
Social work.
Okay, good.
Yep.
Well, you'll be serving in the staff at the Blackhawk County Veterans Office right now as a intake receptionist, and then you'll be trained to be a VSO.
Yes, sir.
So people will get, when they walk into your building, Yolanda, she'll be the first one to be seen?
First one to be seen.
Okay, good. Well, first off, I want to welcome you into the Blackhawk County veteran staff. And I'm especially proud of the fact that you're an Air Force veteran, and that Yolanda is, excuse me, Yolanda is picking Air Force veterans to work because, highly intelligent people. But I want you to know that we appreciate you coming on the staff there, and we look forward that you'll do a good job for all of our veterans. And we've arrived at the, believe it or not, the halfway point of this show. So Mary's going to get to relax, and I'm going to pick on Yolanda when we come back from our commercial break. So please come back for the second half of the show. Welcome back to the second half of the Veterans of the Cedar Valley show. I'm Tom Haggerty. I'll be your host for this show. And we've been interviewing in the studio Mary Corwin, who is a new staff member for the Blackhawk County Veterans Affairs Office. And we picked on Mary for the first half, and now we're going to pick on Yolanda Lovelace, who is the director of the Blackhawk County Veterans Affairs Office. And welcome back to both of you.
Thank you.
Yolanda, I think you've been in the office just over a year now, haven't you, since selection?
About 14 months, 16 months, yes, sir.
You going to stay with it?
I'm staying with it, but I am training my relief. I would say that.
Good. Always have to have a good backup.
Always got to have a good backup.
And Yolanda, let's go right into the recent decision to move the old office, which was really, I'm sorry, a pain to get to. I mean, you went in and out and all these different things, but now where did you move to?
So we moved to the old Grinning Grove, which is in the same facility. It gave us just a little bit more room. It also helped for facilitating our older veterans from getting from the parking lot to the office that you just talked about, that mine sweep going back to our office. But now the veterans can now come right off the parking lot and enter right into our office, and then be greeted by our expert here, Mary, and then enjoy, once this COVID pandemic is over, some of the other things that we are going to have in play that we didn't have in play at the other
Well, speaking of the COVID and how it's done a number on a lot of things, how has your business been affected by COVID-19?
So just like anything else, for the first 90 days or so, our office was closed to normal business. So we had to kind of do things differently. We had to meet veterans in the parking lot. We had to meet veterans at home because our office was closed to veterans. We didn't stop working, even though we did reduce our staff during the COVID pandemic. We continued to process claims, but we had to do it. We just had to make men's meet, so to say, and do it to where it was bendable to everyone, but to do it in a safe environment.
Are you doing veterans claims by television or by computer?
No, but by email. We have been doing it by email and what we call snail mail. But and our snail mail, it really is actually fast now. You can mail out something within the Black Hawk County in 1 day and have it back in 2 days. So I call that pretty fast nowadays, compared to my Navy days where it took 2 weeks to get a letter.
But you're not doing anything like Zoom or anything like that for client intake?
Not for client intake, but we are for our commissioner meetings. We are for any other meetings that I participate in. That's being done. Board of Supervisors meetings are done by Zoom.
I attended the Board of Veterans Directors meeting by virtual tour the other day, and I'm just not really technically charged, so I didn't know how to turn on the microphone if I wanted to talk. My wife showed me how to do it, but I got to wave, and
Gotcha.
I appreciate letting me be at that meeting and to hear what's going on. And how many are on the commission?
So right now we have, the commission is set up for 5, and we have one outsourcing commission. Her time is up and she wants to move on. So there is an open commission seat that's available right now, and they are taking resumes and applications for that open seat. We've recently had another one come on, Tracy Richmond, he's a teacher in the Waterloo school system. He was an Army, I call him an Army brat. But we're getting stronger on our commission. We have a colonel, a light colonel, and then we have a Navy corpsman and a Marine. So we're kind of well-rounded, and we're looking forward to whoever joins us. And possibly will be an Air Force person. We don't
good.
know. We'll find out.
I was going to mention that. I remember back when I attended a Board of Supervisors meeting, and we were talking about the Veterans Affairs Office and what that office did. And I remember hearing the term economic impact of what you guys are going to do. If you get a veteran to start receiving benefits, that's money that's coming into Black Hawk County. But why don't you explain what I mean?
So so Tom, you bring up a good point. That's one of my focal points. Is between the veteran service officers, who include Mary, every veteran that comes in, there is an opportunity for that economical impact to impact the Black Hawk County veterans, the community itself. Just recently, 2019, the economical impact for Black Hawk County for the veterans that we have about 8,000 veterans in Black Hawk County. Out of that 8,000 veterans that are getting either a compensation or a pension, they produce $28 million in 1 year. So that's $28 million that's spread out between these veterans who now can take that money and utilize it within the county. So the more veterans we bring in our office and the more veterans that are entitled to compensation, pension, health care, that revenue is coming back into our county.
And that 28 million, just give me a wild guess, is from how many veterans in Black Hawk County?
So there's a total, Tom, of about 8,200 veterans in Black Hawk County. That is dwindling with
Sure.
the loss of our World War II and Korean vets. But we only have about 4,000 veterans that are receiving compensation or pension. In particular, I would say a majority of our veterans that are receiving compensation and pension are our Vietnam veterans, and that's where it should be. But we are seeing an uptick on our post 9/11, our Gulf War I, which I used to say Desert Storm, and our Afghanistan veterans who are coming back with different conditions and diseases.
Well, I didn't want to ignore your service in the Navy, Yolando, but I think we have a photo somewhere in our about how many stripes you have. And what was your rank in the Navy when you retired?
So my rank in the Navy when I retired was a CWO4, Chief Warrant Officer 4. What's unique about the Navy is you have to be at least an E7 to convert over to Chief Warrant Officer. I did it at E8. So as an E8, so I was equivalent to Mary when I struck over to what we call the Mustang Navy, which is an enlisted being commissioned to an officer.
And not to forget, but your beloved wife was a Navy veteran?
She was a Navy veteran also. In the same path, she was an E8, converted over to a warrant, but she retired as a W2. So 52 years of joint service between us, all Navy. Mm-hmm. But I do have a son-in-law who is Air Force, who actually is deployed right now in Saudi Arabia.
Oh, very smart guy joining the Air Force.
He is a very smart guy.
But back to your office. You go into your office, say I want to go in there and get an appointment maybe at the Veterans Clinic in Waterloo. Mm-hmm. Do I do that by going to the Veterans Clinic direct, or I have to come through you guys? Or
So there's several options. We traditionally, because the healthcare is kind of separate, we're the benefit side, but we work hand in hand with the healthcare side. So if they're looking for an appointment with the healthcare at the clinic, we would be able to provide them that number, area code 319-235-1230. They have a very simple number for that. But we also help with getting them enrolled in VA healthcare so that they can take part in that benefit. Because it is a benefit to have healthcare insurance. And we see that a lot, is that there's a lot of veterans out there, they leave their jobs or whatever, but they don't have healthcare that follows them. And so the VA healthcare is a pretty good system, and outpatient clinic out there doing a fantastic job.
And do you provide transportation for veterans to go to appointments in Iowa City?
So the ones that are going to Iowa City, we actually help pay the DAV. DAV has a volunteer staff that drives the van from the clinic to Iowa City. Due to COVID, that's one of those effects. They have stopped doing that. We're waiting for that to come back online as Iowa City and our outpatient clinic here in Waterloo starts to take back in regular customers. For the most part, they were only taking urgent needs in that standpoint. We help locally. So if there's a veteran who needs a ride to the outpatient clinic, all they have to do is call Mary or myself or Stacy or Michelle, and we'll set them up for a ride to get there.
Okay, now, one thing I'd like to know is you not only assist veterans in requesting medals or benefits or services, what about their family? What about the veteran's family? Can you help on that if a widow comes in? Or
So we do. So Tom, I'm a Navy guy, so I say the spouse, it comes in a sea bag. So I don't know what the Air Force says. I guess it comes on a wing or something. I'm not for sure. But we rag each other all the time. But yes, the spouses and children that are under 18, they're just like that veteran. We give them the due respect that's needed. So if there's a spouse out there that needs some kind of assistance, we're going to do what we can to support that by either turning her over to a resource that's available or the resources that we have within our office.
Okay, and just explain real quickly, if I came into your office and said I need to go to Iowa City for something, can you set that up, or do I have to set that up?
Well, we will work with that veteran to do that, because we would call down to Iowa City to see if their transportation is available to do that. If that's not there, we could call a service organization to see if maybe they had a volunteer that could take them down. And in some cases, me or Mary would do it in that standpoint.
Have you done that as the director, drove the vehicle down?
In fact, during COVID, there was a veteran who had a colonoscopy, and because he was going under anesthetics, he had to be with another person, so I accompanied that veteran down. I don't mind doing that, and Mary doesn't mind doing it. we have a veteran spirit, we have a service heart, and so if there's a veteran in need, we're going to go above and beyond to do it if it's legally and if we can do it safely.
And looking ahead, you've been here for a year. Looking ahead, what can you predict out of your, what'd you call it, sea bag?
My sea bag. So about the, so one thing I would love to do is to gather all of all the service organizations under one roof, where we have one meeting to where we can discuss things that we can do within each other's realm, but also what we can do within the public. I think we have an opportunity within Black Hawk County, within the Cedar Valley, of doing some great things and showing our public that veterans do care. Veterans are not looking for a handout, but veterans are still serving and want to serve, and looking at some kind of ideals where we can do something collectively, not VFW, not American Legion, but as a group of veterans together from Cedar Falls, from Dunkerton, from Evansdale, from Waterloo, and go out and do projects within the community, and so that the community can see that we do have a heart for our mankind.
And even with the COVID, you're probably not making any appearances out at the different groups, but when and if you can start making appearances again, are you going to take Mary with you and introduce her?
I sure am. This is my buddy in crime, I think. And really I am. So Tom, I've always been under that philosophy, and I was trained that way. You train your relief. And as you know, Mary, with master's degrees, 2 BAs, it's going to be hard to keep her unless I put her in my position. And I just think that's something that I want to inspire her to do, is to sit in this seat and utilize her expertise, her education to better veteran services here in Black Hawk County.
Well, we're nearing the end of the show, believe it or not, and I want to again thank Yolando for coming over and giving us an update.
Sure.
Congratulations on your first year.
Thank
and
you.
also on for what you've done as far as your duties in helping the veterans of Cedar Valley. And Mary, I want to welcome you to the Black Hawk County Veterans Affairs Office, and congratulations on your selection.
Thank you.
I'm not too happy about all the stripes you have on your uniform. Anyway, but welcome to the VA office, Veterans Affairs Office, and you have a good boss to work with, and we look forward to seeing you involved in the Veterans Affairs Office and issues that come out of it. Yeah. And Yolando and Mary, thank you for being with us today on the Veterans of the Cedar Valley. And I appreciate everybody looking in on the show, and I'd like to invite you back for another session that we will have on another subject. So thank you very much for tuning in.